You're watching Jaxblade's month of Halloween. Let's get some shit out of some psychopaths. Groovy.
Okay, seriously, people don't understand the amount of upper body strength it takes to do what Michael just did. I mean, I'm not surprised since Michael usually crushes people's heads in his bare hands like melons, but he held himself up in a static one-arm pull-up position for an indefinite amount of time and then slowly let himself down. That is legitimately impressive. Yo, dudes and dudettes, your friendly neighborhood Jaxblade is back with another month of Halloween episode, and today we're going to be talking about how surprisingly fit Michael Myers is. Now note, this was filmed prior to me seeing the new Halloween movie, and last year I talked in depth about Jason Voorhees and how he was able to be so strong as a human before he became the super zombie he became, and all the training he most likely did in the woods growing up for that strength. And here, I'll leave a link to it so you can check it out after this. But unlike my boy Jason, for Michael Myers, there was never really a point in his life you could see him training unless we hypothetically talk about his time in the mental hospital when all the doctors and nurses said all he did was sit there and just stare quietly. First off, that bitch deserved it if you've seen the movie. Second, that's remake Michael Myers. And third, I guess I should break down the various versions of the Michael since some people not familiar with it wouldn't realize the big difference. So for example, those who are not fully familiar with the Halloween franchise and just notice it on their TV every once in a while and see Michael Myers and know who the character is, they change the continuity for the Halloween series every couple decades, to be honest. Like, there are multiple ways to go about watching it. Now, originally, you could go Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 4, Halloween 5, Halloween 6, Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween H2O, Halloween Resurrection, and then if you wanted, you could watch like the Halloween remakes by Rob Zombie. And the first remake was literally just a remake of the first one, but it went more into Michael's origins, and then the second one was more of just... they did their own thing with that movie. But then there was this way of watching it where you could go Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween H2O, and Halloween Resurrection, where they just completely cut out the whole Curse of Thorn bullshit. Like, they didn't like it. You could watch them all back to back, but they just didn't like that. So it's literally like Halloween H2O is a sequel to Halloween 2. So that's what you can do if you want to go that route. And now with this new route, because this new movie is just taking place after Halloween. Now, I still haven't seen this movie to this video coming out, so it's like right after the very first Halloween. It's ignoring Halloween 2, and honestly, I don't like it because I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't know. They said like they're not gonna be brother and sister anymore, and they said they took away Michael Myers' superhuman abilities.
The way you're going to handle this is that he's not a supernatural human being in the sense of he can't be killed. And that's what happens to any good horror franchise that goes too long. Eventually, the character becomes like immortal,
yeah,
and mythical, and it's like it was based on a real person. Now it's just that's a monster, a figment of your imagination. But you said there's something scarier about you taking out the garbage and noticing someone standing in the shadow staring at you than this monster it'll take forever to kill chasing you down the street.
100%. I mean, it's like I feel like for horror to work on me, I have to be able to picture myself in the situation.
And that sort of takes a lot of the imposing nature out of it, because like if I attack someone and like they don't budge, then that's just like, oh, I'm terrified, like what am I going to do now? But if it's just an average old guy and I just get my bat and hit him, then it's just like, okay, he took damage and I got a very Arnold, if it bleeds we can kill it mentality. So that sort of takes away the whole fear factor to me personally, because the first movie, it was like he was this shape, this force that was got taken out but then left, and then it was crazy. And then other movies, they made it seem like, oh, you could damage him, but then this is just making him completely realistic, and I don't know how I feel about that yet, so we'll see once I see that movie. Now, the reason I bring this up is because going by which timeline you choose, Michael's strength and powers can vary a lot from incredibly strong human to literal demigod. In the original and remake, Michael was strong enough to carry a 1,000-pound tombstone by himself from the cemetery to his home. And also, he was able to hold an average-sized 180-pound teenager with one hand in the air and then pin them to the wall with a kitchen knife. The force and strength needed to do that is absolutely insane. Then in the other movies, they started getting heavy with the 80s gore, and now he can rip people's heads off and crush skulls with his bare hands, and became increasingly more metahuman. Now, Michael Myers is easily one of the greatest slashers of all time, one of the most iconic and well-known, and honestly, most tropes for the unstoppable silent mute killer came from him, and it was just, that was the ideal. It was like, that's the 80s slasher trope, like this killer is chasing you, you don't know why, you can't stop him, and they're just unstoppable. Well, until they explained Michael's powers in part 4, 5, and 6, as him having this thing called the Curse of Thorn, which made him want to kill his family, and also let him regenerate and do superhuman feats and be immortal and just a whole bunch of other crazy BS. But a lot of people didn't care for that and just liked him as an insane dude who had incredible strength because he was crazy, so we're gonna ignore this one. Now let's look at the original and remake Michael, because honestly there's a massive difference. The original Michael Myers was this average looking guy but could perform some insane strength feats, while the remake was this 6'8" towering power of muscle Tyler Mane, which you better recognize as Sabretooth from the original X-Men movie. So in the remake, Michael literally grew from this to this.
I'd say puberty was inordinately kind to you.
And I watched this movie before making this video because I wanted to make sure of something. And yeah, they said he basically just sat in his room, was very quiet, barely did anything, just sat there making masks, and he grew to be this giant, massive man monster.
Are you a giant?
That is some incredible genetics right there. So ironically, the one that's the most believable, aesthetically at least, is the original, because he barely ate and looked like an average Joe in his mechanic's outfit. The real talk, he might have been ripped as fuck since he was able to casually do one-arm pull-ups like this. So let's look at how Michael Myers could possibly be this fit in the originals. Now, this is all hypothetical and hasn't been, officially published anywhere else. But let me just analyze things he could possibly do in that room. So no, Michael would not be lifting weights, even though he does love deadlifting. One of the biggest things Michael could do was calisthenics, of course, and I have countless videos on how you could build your strength just doing those, but for today's video, let's talk about something new, primarily isometrics. Now, an isometric exercise is one that involves static contraction of a muscle that's just creating tension in the muscle without any visible movement. So typically, you think of a concentric lift, which is you lifting up the weight, and an eccentric lift is you lowering the weight. An isometric is you just holding it at the point of tension, so like there's no like visible bend. So an example of that would be planks or wall sits, or honestly just holding in a position like you could do a squat. Or think of when, if you're a fan of My Hero Academia, when Deku was sitting in class and he was doing that little thing in his chair, like that's an isometric exercise, and it's helping strengthen the muscle on a different way than just doing concentric and eccentric lifts. And you can actually do it a whole benefit of ways, like you could like pull on something immovable or push against something immovable, and just using that max force safely that you're able to generate by doing it. So like, let's say I've got a rope and I'm like pulling on something immovable, like that is going to help me work the tension even greater. And also if I'm just pushing on something completely immovable, like a big ass tree, and I'm just trying to push it over just like that, that's helping me create max tension in my muscles and pushing it, but it's still safe for me. I'm not gonna like worry about the tree falling over on me, or like worry about like blowing it out unless I push too hard. And do be careful with this, because I have seen people burst blood vessels and like throw out their backs from doing too many isometrics, so just be careful. Now, one of the main benefits of isometric exercises is you can recruit more muscle fibers, which can lead to more strength. And actually, in one of my favorite books by Bruce Lee, I highly recommend checking this out, he actually covers a whole chapter on isometrics and how important they are for increasing your strength in general and why you should just do them. Matter of fact, remind me to create Tough Like the Tunes just for isometrics. I think I got a great idea for that. And then there are real life people like Dennis Rogers, who can rip apart horseshoes and do other incredible feats because of this use of more muscle fibers than regular folks.
The magnitude of the EMG signal, and from the fact that this entire area of the screen is whited out, he's able to activate a lot of motor units, a lot of muscle fibers. There are certainly other people walking around that have muscles that are just as big as yours. However, for some reason, you're able to activate more of those muscle fibers.
But would that be enough for him to be crushing people's skulls like melons? Now, Michael Myers is pure evil and mentally a bit off. And there have been some instances where humans have torn each other apart with their bare hands, but trust me, you do not want to see those images. But another thing to describe what Michael has possibly could be constant hysterical strength. Though that be dangerous, as when hysterical strength is activated, it could possibly tear muscles and tendons straight from your bones. And for those who don't know what hysterical strength is, it's when you're in a life or death situation and your body decides to let you turn the dial up to max, so you can do what you gotta do for that situation, like lifting a car to save your baby, to stop a massive boulder from crushing you, or to maybe save a little boy from a bodybuilding psychopath, you know, the works. It could be possible in the Halloween series that adrenaline is constantly pumping through Michael Myers as he does his murders, which explains his hysterical strength and why he rarely feels any pain. Well, besides this.
I'm only human after all.
Huh. That shit worked on Jason too, when he was alive coming through. So if you're in danger, you know what to do. Grab that person, yell, "I don't know you!" But one final way Michael could be that strong, and this is really pushing it with like the head cannons, but just, you know, hear me out. It could be the same way a chimpanzee is insanely strong. Like, so if you don't know how chimps work, when chimps engage their muscles, they use every part of them full force like a blitz, compared to us humans who have more precision and can go like, oh, I want to play guitar or piano, and we just have more precise control. They Hulk out and can ragdoll grown men like nothing. So that could possibly happen to old Mikey, you know, probably. I mean, this is complete headcanon. I thought I'd throw that in there. Again, none of these are canon or just true to the character, but it's just fun hypothetical thoughts of why Michael Myers could possibly be that strong realistically, because it's not like he was Jason who had the entire woods to train, and I explained that. Be sure to check that out. Or it's not like Bane where he was in jail and was just like, I'm gonna do all these pull-ups and push-ups and all this stuff, which I'll analyze later. He was just a guy who just became insanely strong, and we're ignoring the curse of Thorn. So this is just ways I'm like, okay, plausibly that's probably why, though it doesn't explain why he can take 2 gunshots to the eyes, but whatever, that's how it goes. But again, I haven't seen this new movie yet, so he might just be an average old man sneaking up and shanking people. We'll see. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed my video for today. It's pretty interesting to think of how realistically Michael Myers could be this strong, and, you know, just talking about it. And I love doing this from a month of Halloween series. I love to like look at these various horror characters and just go, huh, well, you know, besides the demon and all that crap, like all the evil stuff, how could they realistically be that strong? So that was fun. So leave a comment below. Tell me what you thought of it. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you gonna go see the new Halloween movie? If you've seen it, no spoilers yet. I haven't seen it yet. Oh, also, if you want me to do a review on it or share my thoughts on the movie, just let me know and I will, you know, make a video on it. And yeah, I just thank you all for watching. I love Halloween, my favorite month, and I love the Halloween series, so it's cool that Michael Myers is finally making a comeback. And I definitely had to do a video like I did for Jason for Michael, because, you know, just too many people mix those people up, and I gotta respect both, because I love both for, you know, what they do, even though they're both whatever. Okay, anyways, I got news, since I consider this a little stinger. I am working on something which if you recognize this, then you should guess what it is. And I'm just waiting for a certain Dragon Slayer to get here, but that's gonna be like 2 to 3 weeks, so I gotta wait. So, but that'll be fun, it'll be worth it when it gets here. You know, so I said so far, what else? Be sure to subscribe to Project Naruto. I'm working on that right now as well. That's why I've just been, you know, sporadically uploading, but I've got a whole ton of videos planned. I actually got like a whole board back there of like videos, like okay, I've got 7 videos coming that I got working on, so don't worry about that. The rest of this month is going to be settled, so I just wanted to do that. But anyways, keep calm, booyah on, don't forget, Momentai. Hope you're having a great month of Halloween, and be sure to go check out Halloween in theaters, because I'm going to definitely check this out and see how they do, my boy.